Alright, so boom, we back in this bitch one more again. Young Kyle Cannon, the pen times 10, about to win here again. If you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe. But it's not hard. It is literally not hard at all. Alright, so if you've been hiding under a rock for the past 2 weeks and don't know by now, Sony and Santa Monica Studios released a free, let that sit, free DLC for God of War Ragnarok, entitled God of War Ragnarok Valhalla. When the trailer dropped a few weeks ago, I was ecstatic, just like most of us were, thinking that this would be coming in the next couple of months. I prepared myself for disappointment, only to be pleasantly surprised when they said, yo, this bitch dropping on Tuesday, man. I said, what? Tuesday? Hell yeah. And as soon as that bitch dropped, guess where I was? In front of the TV, playing God of War Ragnarok Valhalla. So let me give you a little synopsis. I'm gonna give you a little synopsis real quick. So God of War Valhalla starts off with Kratos and Mimir rowing that motherfucking boat in the waters. It looks like they're by the Bifrost, but I don't think that's where they are. And during the conversation, you hear that Kratos has been given a note they stuck to his front door saying that, I forgot what it said, but it says something and it led him to the shore. So when you get there, you see it's like a beach, like a sandy little black beach shore thing. And you go up these steps that lead to a giant stone door. And Kratos, being Kratos, said, I'm just gonna rip this open. Which he does. He rips the door open and walks into this new plane of existence. This is Valhalla. Upon entering Valhalla, you are like encumbered, poisoned. As you're in there, you're steadily losing health while you're trying to fight off these enemies that are coming your way. Now, eventually, if you like me and had to get your wheels back turning on the game, you die. You know, or what you do, you seemingly die, right? So Kratos falls and he wakes up back on the shore. And when he wakes up, he hears someone talking. The Valkyrie have showed up, and they inform you that the reasoning behind why you were being injured was because you forcibly made your way into Valhalla, and they don't like that shit. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, comes into effect later, but it doesn't matter. But basically, Kratos has now been offered the position of God of War in this new world that they're creating. But because of the way he previously got the title and everything that came with it, Kratos cannot fully come to terms with accepting this role, because in his quest to become a better person and atone for the sins that he did in the past, he believes the throne leads to more chaos. Which, given the context, makes sense for him to think that way. So to sum the whole story up here, Kratos has to battle with himself and his trauma through each stage of Valhalla. And Valhalla itself is reaching deep inside of Kratos' mind to bring him these enemies and to bring him these environments. And these past feelings all for him to face head to head. Alright, so now we're getting into spoiler territory. So if you don't want to be spoiled, you know what I'm saying? If you don't want to, you want to play it by yourself, go ahead, skip or click off the video. But bruh, this is what we needed from a DLC. This is when I say creators need to do things like this to bring players back into the world. Like this is example A. The creators of this game loved this game and they wanted to give us a new experience. So what did they do a year later? They gave us an amazing DLC full of Easter eggs, callbacks, and they tie it all together to put it into the narrative. I can't tell you how many times I pop playing this game. I'm a big nostalgia fan, and seeing some things from the first 3 games recreated here is just crazy. Like, I think the best part of the entire DLC is when Helios' head just randomly shows up. Especially since the last time we saw him, Kratos tore his head off and used it as a flashlight. Then I was like, oh shit, like Mimir and Helios both got their heads chopped off by Kratos, but just in 2 different circumstances. And Helios' head only pops up in the Greek section, so usually he'll have Mimir on his back belt buckle, and when you get to the Greek section, it's Helios, and Helios is talking shit to you and spewing out hatred and basically condemning Kratos for all the things that he did in the past. But as you hear him talking and you hear Kratos respond, you start to realize that this is just Kratos talking to himself. These are all the things that he thought to himself, all the things that he thought about himself. And then also in those Greek sections, you also fight old Greek enemies from the first 3 games, like centaurs, cyclops, sirens, minotaurs, and it all culminates, it all ends with a face-to-face between Kratos, the Greek god, and Kratos now. And he's looking at himself on his former throne. In the end, he comes to terms with what he's done and beats his inner demons, showing that he has truly become a new person. And I fought with that shit, man. I love how they've shown his growth as a character over these past 2 games, and it helps us relate to the character even more. Now, I've talked about the story and the DLC and all that jazz, ass. But let me talk about how you even get to that point. God damn! Like everything leading up to Greece as far as enemies go is cool, right? You know what I'm saying? You know, you fight fodder enemies and you get your upgrades to help you advance through the gauntlets, and then you box Valhalla's chosen, you know, beefed up, you know, sub bosses. But then once they get to Greece, they turn up on you. Those enemies are like 5 times harder, and you have to beat them all within a time limit. And each time the clock runs down, the enemies get harder and harder. Now you're given the option before you do this gauntlet to beef up your character. But maybe it was something I was doing at the time that I wasn't getting echoes. I wasn't getting money to upgrade. But once I figured out a system and a pathway to go through to beat all the round, I was easily able to get through all of them and then reach the final boss tier. And the actual tier, nigga, not, you know, not an apparition, not a hoax by Odin. It's the actual tier. So you find out he was the one who sent the note to Kratos, and he's the final boss you have to beat in order to even open the door to see old Kratos and face him. But that nigga is hard as fuck to beat. I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh my god, I can't tell you how many times this nigga sent me to the shadow realm. So you have to fight him a total of 4 times, and the first 3 times you beat him, he sends you right back to the shore because you're not ready yet. And the 4th battle is just insane. I got there at least like 7 or 8 times, and I got beat halfway through every time. So you know what I'm saying? I had to push my pride to the side. You know, I had to push my pride to the side, and I was like, look, self, just lower the difficulty. You're just trying to reach the end of this. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you got to prove anything to anyone. Just slide the difficulty meter down, which I did. Then I was able to, you know what I'm saying, blaze through that whole thing, you know, beat tier and finally go through the door. And then that's where Kratos meets himself and la la la. But all in all, I had a great experience playing this DLC. It's a good time amount of gameplay to play. It's great, but this is what I want to see more of. Instead of doing absolutely everything you can to run our pockets on top of a $70 game, giving us $15 to $30 DLC packs that don't add shit to the fucking game, do it for the love of the fans, do it for the love of the game, do it for the love of what you do, and don't do it for the love of money, because the money's gonna come regardless. If it's that good, it's gonna come regardless. You greedy bastards. Take notes. Anyway, thanks for watching. I know I've been gone for a little minute. I've been trying to do some, you know, thinking of video ideas. It's kind of hard. It's like an underrated part of doing YouTube, is that you got to really think about what you're gonna do next. Luckily, they released this and I was ready to play it and I wanted to play it, so I had something to talk about. But yeah, if you haven't, go ahead, like and subscribe. I'll be back later this week, hopefully with another video.